everybody? Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, you're going to see just some hand histories going over the Motorcity 600. Parliament Omaha tournaments happen to be incredibly soft. I stress to all of my students that if you're playing a lot of Hold'em tournaments, start switching over to PLO tournaments, because the people who consistently make final tables in Parliament Omaha tournaments tend to be the same people. And you start to recognize them when you're on the circuit. Matter of fact, one of the guys that ended up making the money was a guy that I final tabled with back in 2018 in Chicago, as well as he didn't final table in the Big O tournament that I won last year, but in any case, you end up start recognizing some of the same players because they know how to pick their spots, if you will, in Parliament Omaha, which is a little bit different than Hold'em, because in Hold'em, of course, you're looking at a chart and you look down and you're like, oh, I got ace queen, I've got 12 big blinds, let's run with it. Parliament Omaha, one of the things I tell people, especially in tournaments, is you're really never more than 2 double ups from being the chip leader, unless of course you're on the final table. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. This is one of my other wiener dogs. This is Milo here. You guys got to meet Nova last time. Milo is my little red-headed male dachshund, where Nova is a black female dachshund. But in any case, we are going to have a virtual meetup game every Monday, Donkfish and I. I'm going to put it in the link in the description down below. And we are starting to offer merchandise as well. So we are going to have some PLO Professor hoodies. Mine is currently on the way, as well as some Parliament Omaha specific card protectors. Because the only thing I've ever found anywhere for a card protector is a card protector that has the pot symbol on it, or it just says pot. These are going to have ace, ace, 10, jack, double suited on it. And then on the other side, it's going to say play smart and run like a god. So those are, I'm going to link that description down below as well. If you guys want to order that, it really helps, supports the channel. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I know there's not any live recording. Again, Motorcity does not allow us to do that. But we did definitely do well in this tournament. So definitely stay tuned and let me know what you guys think. Play smart, everybody. Run like a god. So here we are, day one, going into the 2-day PLO tournament. I feel like I have a pretty solid edge compared to what I saw punting in the round by round in the Hold'em round. Everybody was limping. A couple of people said that if the board's paired and there's 3 diamonds out there, that they're gonna call if they have a diamond flush, which really surprised me. And of course, the person who said that, I told them I appreciated that information, and they quickly busted out shortly thereafter. I can't remember if this one has a big blind ante. I know in the round by round they did not, which is a pretty huge mistake because you can play extremely tight. So my goal today is to get to day 2, build up a chip stack. I still want 3x starting stack at the end of registration. But even if I only have 2x starting stack, which would be 100K at the end of registration, I'll be good. My brother has this saying, he says, find your flip. He thinks that should be on a shirt. And as far as shirts and merchandise, more information on that coming soon by yours truly. But find your flip is in my opinion, a great saying. Right now I'm down on this trip, had a rough night, Saturday night, Sunday fired 2 bullets, didn't play any cash after that, because if you play 8 hours of a tournament and you bust out, it's really hard to make the switch, especially if you're tilted. Matter of fact, I talked to my wife and she's like, no, you're tilted. You should just take the rest of the night off. Now, as you guys know, I have to travel to play, and when I do play, I go play 12, 16, 18 hours a day. So for me to take a night off is really hard to do, but I decided to do it. Played amazing poker yesterday, just had a few runouts that didn't go my way. It's one thing that sucks about the life of a grinder is at the end of the day you can say I played really, really good poker, made a few moves, got lucky a few times, don't get me wrong, but every time I got lucky I got paid off, and I was doing it in position. So people who might say, well, those are hands you shouldn't play, again, when you're in position you can play a much wider range. But yeah, it sucks to be down on the trip, 5-6 grand, somewhere around there. And but you know, last year at this time in October, I went out to the MSPT. I consistently lost there. Went to Vegas for the series. I ended up finishing first in a Big O tournament. I got first, fourth, ninth, and 12th in 4 PLO tournaments that I played. And by far the first place was the one that I found my flip, if you will. So hopefully today we can find our flip. We can finish with a big stack. And, you know, hopefully we can play smart. And more importantly, we can run like a god. Because when you go on a poker trip, when it's your primary source of income, and you lose $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, I'm planning on 3 bullets today if I have to. So when you lose 7 grand, that's part of the grind. I know a lot of vloggers like to show you all the positive stuff. This is the life of a true grinder, and so I'm going to show you some of the things that just make you want to run your head through drywall, or as I like to say, find a nice scenic bridge and take a leap. Given I'm not going to do that, you don't have to worry about that, guys. Suicide is a very serious topic. I actually have a tattoo for suicide awareness, so yeah, that's not something to joke about, but my apologies on that. But go ahead and hit the like and subscribe if you haven't. Again, this is the life of a true grinder, ups and downs. There is some degen stuff that I do with scratcher tickets, I understand that, but yeah, let's play smart, everybody. Let's run like a god and bag a big one today. So far, starting stack 50,000. I did bring it up to about 90,000. Told myself I was going to play tight because there's no big blind antes. And yeah, we finished the break at 42-1. Very last hand I had there, ace, queen, 10, deuce with spades. And I'm on the button. And one guy raises pre-flop to go all in as the short stack for 7,000. So I go ahead and call, and the flop comes king 3-4 with 2 spades. And the guy who raised 7,000, we're 3-way action with one player all in, decides to rip it all in for 10,000. I end up calling, and we table our hands, and my ace is live, a 5 is live, and spades are live. He's got queen, queen, jack, 9. And so yeah, any ace, any 5, any spade. He did have queen, jack of spades. But yeah, we end up going brick on a $32,000 pot. So we had a really bad table draw. Started off the table with 4 people that I recognize who are really good Omaha players. We got lucky on a couple of hands. And the one hand that I did lose that was big, I had 10 jack 9 with 10 high hearts, and the flop was ace of hearts, king of clubs, queen of hearts. And the guy to my left, who is a very, very tight player, I put him on, this might be like his second, maybe third PLO tournament, who raised pot pre-flop. I put him on aces or kings. Of course, leads out and bets 5,000, bets pot, and it folds around to me, and I value raise to 13,000, and he calls, and the turn comes up the 8 of hearts. So now I have essentially third nut. The only thing that beats me is jack or king hearts. So actually, yeah, third nut. And I lead out for 15,000 because I'm thinking he might get stubborn with like aces or kings. And he was super nervous in the hand, hands shaking, breathing really heavy, signifying that he had a monster. And he min clicks it back to 30,000, and I muck. So sometimes that's the way it goes. I'm playing my reads. I'm playing good, playing smart. Yeah. Just so far only 1 bullet. Always plan for 3 bullets in these things, but we'll see how we do. Hopefully in 2 hours I'll have an update for you guys. End of registration is in 2 more breaks. So on the next break we'll still be going with registration. So 42-1 is what I'm at right now. Let's see if we can get it up to about 100,000 before next break. Play smart, everybody. Run like a god. So quick update. We are hit our goal. We were at 113,000 in chips. We had a pretty interesting hand, 6, 8, 10 king with 4 spades. I end up calling. There's 5-way action. The flop comes 4 of spades, 5 of spades, 10 of clubs. And first player, who I pegged as a hold'em player based on some of his betting patterns, where he'd make it like 6,000 or 7,000 pre-flop, and then he would down bet, giving his opponents way good odds on calling. Either that or he just kept flopping monsters. But in any case, I put him on a hold'em player. He also made a couple of questionable calls for PLO. But in any case, he decides to lead out. And he leads out and bets, I believe it was 4,000. So we have a gut shot straight flush draw. We do have 4 spades. Not exactly a hand that's a good quality hand, but in this point in time, I decided I'm just going to play the player. So I decided to flat. So I flat, everybody else folds. And the turn comes the deuce of diamonds. And he leads out and he bets 7,500. Now I do have a 6 in my hand. And at this point, I need to get him off of ace 5 or ace deuce, pardon me. And so I decided to raise it for 20,000. I'm playing complete position here. Actually, I raised it to 25 now that I remember it. So I make it 25,000. And again, we're heads up and he calls. And I'm thinking, oh boy, put out a 10 or of course a red 7. I did think for a second there with his bet of 7,500 on the turn when there was already like 18,000 in the pot or 16,000 in the pot, that he probably had the nut spade draw, was my guess. But if a spade gets there, we're going to run with it. So the river comes a red jack and he checks, and I've only got about 35,000 behind. So I go ahead and I bet 25,000 again. And he goes in the tank, he grabs his chips. It really looks like he's going to call, and then he folds. So we get that one through in a nice size pot, around 70,000. Later on, I'm in the button. Blinds are 500, 1,000. I have deuce 3, 3, 5 double suited with diamonds. I call. The small blind to my left, who's a player who has been making some questionable moves. Whenever he has over pairs, he just rips it all in. Like on a 9-10-5 board with 2 hearts, he ripped it all in with pocket jacks with no hearts. And so because of this, he pots it to 5,000, and one other player comes along, and I go ahead and call as well. So we go 3 ways to the flop. I have deuce 3, 3, 5 with diamonds. Flop comes king 10, 3 with 2 diamonds. He bets 10,000. I'm on the button. He's directly to my left. The guy mucks. I end up ripping it all in, or effective his stack, which was 39,000 and change. He snap calls. I'm hoping that all he has is aces with a diamond draw, because I'm blocking 2 of the diamonds. And he turns over ace, queen, jack 10 with nut diamonds. So I actually like his hand better than mine. He ends up turning a jack and rivers a blank, so he ends up having the nuts. So we end up losing that hand. And, part of me wants to say, why risk the, sorry, I had a bee on me, the potential 42,000. And because I would really like to have those chips back. But at the same time, he's not, he would have done the same thing with dry aces. He would have ripped it all in and then called. So I don't know, deuce 3, 3, 5. Let me know what you think. I know it's not a great hand, especially in PLO, on the button, in a tournament. But yeah, that puts us down to 113,000. So hopefully I'll give you guys another update in 2 hours, which should be the break. My goal is to be around 150, 180, somewhere around there. Yeah, so let's continue playing smart. We're going to be a little bit more patient, and let's run like a god. So we are on dinner break, and I think I played 2 hands in the last 2 hours. Super card dead. I think last time I talked to you guys, I was at like 112,000. So up until the last hand, I had 135. So one hand that I did play, like literally saw an ace, I think maybe 3 times. One hand I was in the small blind, 8, 8, 9, 10, one suit. I actually have 3 spades. I don't like that hand. But 8, 8, 9, 10 in the small blind, and middle position raises. Other guy calls. I want to say the blinds were 1 and 2. No, they were 1,500 and 3,000. And so the second guy raised, and he raised to like 8,000. So I call, and the other guy calls. So there's almost 30,000 in the pot. And the flop was 5, 7 queen, 3 hearts, and it checks around. And then the turn comes a 10 and no heart, and I just let out for 25,000. I was like, all right, 2 people who are playing passive, I think I should be able to pick this up. And they both folded. I didn't have hearts. It was just stone cold bluff, picking up on weakness. So I ended up winning that. So I had 135,000 or like 140,000. There's a couple of times where I tried limping with questionable hands, ended up mucking. But yeah, last hand before dinner break, I'm in the big blind, under the gun raises, makes it 7,500. Blinds are 1,500, 3,000. Folds around to the small blind, who ends up calling. And I look down at ace, ace, 10, jack, one suit with diamonds and the ace of spades. So I pot it. So I pot it for 30K. Guy to my left, who was on his 4th bullet, calls, as you can imagine, being on 4 bullets. And then the small blind calls. And I think the small blind was on his 2nd bullet. And yeah, the flop comes queen 9 deuce with 2 spades. First guy checks, I bet 90. Second guy is all in for like 20. And then the small blind folds. And the guy who called me ended up having like 7, 9, 4 jack or something like that. So basically he's drawing to a jack, a 9, a 4, or a 7. And he didn't have spades. And when the turn came a king, well, we ended up scooping that one. So we are sitting pretty at 212,000. So my goal was to be around 175 or so. So 212,000, blinds are 2,000, 4,000. We have 50 bigs. There's no big blind ante. Again, a pretty serious, I don't want to say mistake, but the last 2 years, Parliament Omaha tournaments have absorbed or welcomed big blind antes. So here at Motor City, they don't, which, like I have told a couple people, is going to bring the tournament to a screeching halt. So there's 140 entrants, I believe. So top place should be, I don't know, probably 12, 15,000, somewhere around there. So hopefully we can ship it. Just looking to bag tonight, make it to day 2. And then, you know, I'm going to start picking my spots, primarily more in day 2. But after registration's over, the table tends to tighten up a little bit. If it doesn't tighten up, it'll start getting tight when we start getting lower. So I hope I don't punt like I did the other day with ace 8. Of course, we're not playing hold'em. So tighter is righter when there's no big blind ante. Tighter is righter. Don't forget that. All right, everybody. Well, play smart and run like a god. All right, so real quick update. We are down to 16. We are in the money. So not too shabby. I didn't have too many hands to go over. At one point I got up to like 315,000. Blinds are 5,000, 10,000. I have 220,000. So I've got 22 bigs. You know, just playing tight, trying to pick my spot. We're down to 16 players. So I think this tournament's going to finish in the next 2 to 4 hours. Probably 4 hours. I don't think we're going to have a 2-day tournament here. But I was involved in the last hand. Had ace, jack, 5-5 with spades. Just in the big blind, somebody raised, I call. Flop was like 8-7-3. And I checked, a complete rainbow. He bats, I muck. So, but yeah, that's about it. Hopefully in 2 more hours, I'll give you guys an update that we're shipping it, or we're at least at the final table. So play smart, everybody. Run like a god. So here we are. Unfortunately, we're not at break. We did make the final table. We ended up getting 6th overall. So in for 600, out for 34.21. But you know, we played 1-2 no limit hold'em for 45 minutes before the tournament. Normally when I play a tournament, I don't play a cash game. And I won $500 there. So really the buy-in on the tournament was like $100. So for the day, we're up almost $4,000. Not a bad day. First place was 20K. Final table, I came the shortest stack. I ended up doubling up on ace 448. I was in the small blind, or I was in the big blind under the gun, who was the chip leader, who had half the chips at the time. I ended up raising. I called. Flop came 2-3-5, and I checked. He checked. Turn was a 3. I checked. He bet 75. I check raised to 300. He jams. There's 2 diamonds and 2 clubs on the board. I've got ace 448 with diamonds. He turns over 3 9 10 jack with clubs, and we dodge that one to double up. But later on in the final table, I got 8 9 jack queen suited with diamonds, and I raise. We're down to 6-handed. I raise, make it 60K. Blinds are 10K, 20K. He 3-bets me to 180K. I end up calling. Flop is 3-4-9 with 2 diamonds. So I run with it for 210 more, and he's got aces with diamonds. Turn was a king of clubs, which gave us some hope, and then the river was like the 6 of diamonds. So we are out at 6th. It's bittersweet. You're never truly satisfied in a tournament unless you get first, but in this situation, I played really, really good. Played amazing poker. I was literally card dead for like 2 to 4 hours and still made the final table, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, I would have liked to make 4th or 3rd. I think 3rd was like $7,000. So, but that's all there is to it. Sometimes that's the way the card gods decide your fate is for you. So from your true grinder, the PLO professor, I'm gonna go home, drive home now, even though it's almost 1 in the morning, and I got a 7-hour drive so I can make my wife breakfast. So play smart, everybody. Run like a god.